And she is now close enough to me that I can smell her breath. I can hear her, and she's leaning in, and she's just about ready to jump. And I'm winding up with this camera. I'm going to hit her as hard as I can on the nose. Meantime, this woman got out of the car and got into the back and grabbed a gun. She never fired a rifle or any firearm before. Opens it up, no bullets. Back in the car, gets bullets, back in the back. Finds out and remembers that it has to be the right bullet.
Okay, are we good to go?
We're good to go.
All right. Howdy, everybody. Welcome to People Who Hunt podcast. We got Mike Rogers with us. Mike is with SCI. And then, Mike, what is your position at SCI?
Technically, I'm Executive Vice President of Member Services, which means convention, record book, and, of course, all of membership.
But you have been associated or involved with SCI for how long?
Since I was 22, so a little over 40 years.
Goodness gracious. So you have seen a lot of changes.
I have.
And speaking of changes, we're in San Antonio, Texas right now. We're at the new headquarters. They just opened up. And y'all moved from, where was it? Somewhere in Arizona, right?
Tucson, Arizona.
Okay, over to San Antonio, Texas. And this is a huge, beautiful office. We got a big deal going on today, kind of the grand opening. A lot of members from all over. I mean, all over. I've met some people that have flown in here, members from different states. And so there's going to be a big gathering, but we got a little conference room here where we're going to be doing the podcast. But, you know, I'm just kind of wondering, why San Antonio?
Great question. Central time zone is certainly one factor, but it's the state of Texas. It's the hunting culture. It's the fact that hunting matters in Texas. It certainly does also in Tucson, but not to the degree it does in Texas.
Well, I agree with you.
Yeah, and it's a friendly environment. You know what's going on in Texas, and a lot of the manufacturers, it doesn't matter whether you're manufacturing guns or ammo or camo, they're saying they're booming business in Texas. The last couple of years has just gone crazy down here. People are engaged in hunting. They're finding it a real soul-fulfilling activity that they've got to do. Whereas in other states, certainly where I'm from, it's something I might do once in a while.
Well, you wound up, you just recently were down here with Johnny doing a turkey hunt. So
Yes,
why don't y'all talk about that?
Yeah.
Oh,
It
Johnny.
okay. So first of all, this trip is why I love turkey hunting, okay? Because we went to the G2 Ranch, and the G2 Ranch has some of the most phenomenal hunting in Texas, period, especially when it comes to turkeys. But the fact of the matter is, last year we took Eric, a buddy of ours, with sticky holsters out there. I don't even know if I told you this.
No.
My mindset, and we crushed the birds. We shot a triple within 5 minutes on the first morning. I shot one the next morning. So we had Mike coming out this year. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, man, you know, we're going to have to pace ourselves with shooting these birds so that we can make a show and have enough content.
So you don't want to shoot them all at once.
We don't want to shoot them all at once.
Right.
You know, and I'm thinking, I'm real confident about it. And Mike comes down and we're having a fantastic time. And they gave me the business. I'm just going to tell you that.
From day one, from the
day
first morning, they're
one.
in the tree and they go the other direction.
Literally, they land, they go the other direction, and just keep on walking by. And that was about it, other than those jakes that were tormenting us. I don't think I told you this, we had a jake they came in and one of the jakes was getting it on with our decoy and making eye contact with us the whole time. And
For like an hour and a half.
Like, are you watching?
Yes. Like, hey, take that. And we got up to scare them off, and they stayed there. And that was the only action we had. But that's why I love turkey hunting.
It was fun. I had a great time. We saw turkeys. We saw some big turkeys with big, long beards and just strutting, but 400 yards away, thinking, well, maybe they'll head this way. We'll look at their pattern. We tried everything. We circled around our key spots, and we were in the right spot.
They just weren't gobbling good. They were henned up, and they wanted nothing to do with us. But we had plenty of time to talk to each other.
Oh, yeah.
And I learned a lot of cool things about Mike, specifically that he's been in the outdoor TV industry with SCI, in association with SCI, for quite some time. Now, I don't think you and Keith have ever talked about that directly, but I told you the whole time, I'm like, Keith is going to definitely understand where you're coming from on a lot of things. So I'd love for you to talk about that story, because I thought it was super cool.
So I've been involved in outdoor TV for 40 years, okay, long as you've been with SCI. Mm-hmm. And we've seen so many changes, and we've seen not just in TV, but in our world. Think about it. And hunting has changed a lot in the last 40 years. And so I think when Johnny, I started in this business before he was born. And so I'm telling him, I said, no, back in the old days, this is the way we did things. What? And so these kids, I call them kids. I mean, the kids nowadays, they have no idea what it used to take to do what we do.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, I heard or I watched a story one day about NASCAR and how at the beginning of NASCAR and how the guys would build cars out in the garage. I mean, that's what they did. And go fast. Okay. That's what they did. And now look how NASCAR has progressed to where it is today. I mean, computers, and they've got teams and sponsors and this and that. Well, it's just like NASCAR, except it was the outdoor industry. We didn't have everything that there is today. We just went out and hunted and tried to make the best hunting videos that we could.
Oh, yeah.
And there weren't any shows. There weren't any hunting shows back then. I mean, there was, what was it, American, what was it,
American Sportsman.
American Sportsman.
Yeah.
Okay, and then there was Kurt Gowdy.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, but there wasn't much as far as hunting on television. And so we kind of started that. We started that process, and I've never quit. I mean, I've just been at it, and so it's
yeah. But when you say started it, we started it with analog tapes and editing with no computers, nothing but maybe an A/B roll editing system.
Maybe. But and I remember when we went to beta cams. Okay.
Oh yeah.
A beta cam weighed 40 pounds, but it was $40,000, and that was back in the 80s.
And you needed at least two of them.
Yeah. Yes. And that was back in the 80s, a $40,000 camera. And I mean, you think the cost of entry today to get in the outdoor television world or outdoor video world is so cheap compared to what it was.
People my age do not. I want to make this real clear because this is very interesting. People my age do not understand what it took then versus now to get into the industry. All you got to do now is go to Best Buy, buy an $800 camera at the most, maybe even use your phone, and you're in. So yeah, talk about more. You ever told me about what it took to slow-mo?
The $800 camera you have now does everything we did then and 10 times better.
Oh yeah.
And we were buying, I bought an A/B roll system with a U-matic 3/4 inch deck that had dynamic tracking, and it was slow motion. And I was sitting there watching it, and I'm playing back the footage of the eagles flying in slow motion. I'm thinking, this is great. This is the magic sauce, because you can watch an eagle, but you can't watch an eagle in slow motion unless you watch my tape.
Yep.
I got it.
And now look, I mean, it is amazing how technology has hit the video market, but it's also amazing how it's hit the hunting market when you think about it. I mean, look at camouflage from 40 years ago to today. Think about that and the evolution of that. Look at firearms from 40 years ago today. Look at optics. I mean, optics, you've got the digital world and the optics. And there's just so many changes and advancement, but still a hunter today and a hunter back 40 years ago or 100 years ago, there's something in their DNA that makes them want to hunt. I look at it and I think there's something, we can't explain it. Okay, some of us are more connected with that than others, but there's this deep down passion inside of them that says, you know what, I gotta hunt, and I don't care if you hunt for squirrels or frogs or elephant. It doesn't matter. There's something that drives us, that pulls us to the outdoors. And even people, I run across people all the time say, they're newcomers. They may be 30, 40, 50 years old. There's a girl working for us in the office, and she's in her 20s, and she says, she's never hunted before, but she wants to. So why do you want to? I mean, what? Her parents don't hunt. I mean, a lot of people's parents don't hunt. Family doesn't hunt, but they still want to hunt. And I think, what motivated it? And that's what I'm all about, trying to find out that little motivation that makes them want to go outdoors and hunt whatever it is.
I think it's, as you said, there's certain things that matter. Hunting matters. It matters to my soul. It matters to my family, my recreation, and a lot of times to my dinner plate. Hunting has so much benefit, and we talk about conservation. Yes, it has a huge aspect on conservation and making sure these animals do what they need to do for future generations. I mean, that started back with Teddy Roosevelt and a lot of things back then that changed the way we looked at hunting. And now you've got all these population centers, and everybody's looking at it going, well, I don't know, I don't hunt, so maybe hunting's not a good deal, until they find out about it. How many times, Keith, have you talked to somebody who's not aware of really what hunting is, but is not in favor of it, and once they talk to you, they go, now I get it. It's not like they're going to go hunting, but they're now in favor.
They've never had anybody educate them and tell them about it. And the thing is, I think we're always learning. I don't care how old you are. When you stop learning, I think it's time to check out, but I mean, we're always learning. And I ask a lot of questions of people, and these people want to learn how to hunt. They want to learn what it is about the outdoors. Why do you do that? Why is it important? I think that we talk about conservation, absolutely, and the animals, absolutely. And then people say, well, look at that. You look like you're having so much fun. I am. What's wrong with that?
Right.
Okay, what's wrong with that? You shoot a big deer and a bull or whatever, and they say, you were so happy and joyful. Right. But at the same time, too, how do you explain to somebody? It's like hunters are the guys that love the animals the most. You think about
It's a hard
That's right.
concept for the uneducated to
and so
grasp.
how can you love something so much that you're willing to shoot it? Think about that. How do you explain that to people?
You got to feel it. It's in your soul. I mean, it's in the activity and the action. And when for example, I've been to Africa 50 times. I've been all over the world, and I've done a lot of shows. You have too. At the end of the day, I learned, because you were just talking about education, I had to learn more about turkey hunting because I don't have much experience at turkey hunting. I've done a lot of other kinds of hunting. And I learned from somebody much younger than me who's teaching me how do you call these birds? How do these birds behave? And all of a sudden, I'm engaged in a hunt, learning from a much younger guy than me, and just absolutely loving it. And it wasn't about the kill of the. We didn't kill a bird.
And that was, Mike told me that right out of the gate when he showed up. He's like, look, I don't care if we get one or not. I just want to learn about this and have a good time.
Right.
And that's exactly what happened is we didn't get any. But we did have a good time. And that's that's what makes it hunting.
But we hunted.
We hunted.
Yeah.
We hunted hard, folks. And we were rushing around and having a good time and having fun. And we walked away all the better for it. We'll have to go out and get some sometime soon.
And so I got to tell you something. While they're hunting turkeys, because it's like, I guess if you're if you're a chef, maybe, okay, there's certain kind of food you like to cook more than another. Or a pastry chef, there's a certain kind of dessert maybe you want to cook more than others. Well, if you're a hunter, there's certain kind of animals you like to hunt more than others. There's a certain method. And so while they're turkey hunting, I'm up in Canada, I'm bear hunting.
That's his favorite.
It's like, because I just love bear hunting. So in the springtime, he goes turkey hunting, and I go north and I go bear hunting.
We split up. Nothing gets him more jacked up than bear hunt. Have I told you
You told me that.
Yeah. I was like, hey, Keith wants to be here, but
I'm telling you, it's the most amazing thing. I sit there, I listen to him, and I watch it. The earlier we talked about, he and Eric went out, they killed 3 turkeys at G2, like bam, bam, bam. And he's just shaking and stuff like that. That's the way I get with every bear coming in. It's like, I love it.
I love it. He has been doing this for so long that, like, obviously he still gets excited and he gets jacked up, but like he's very calm, cool, and collected on everything. And I rarely get him see like. We watched the episode of the bear hunt. I wasn't there, so when I watched it for the first time, he looked like he was about to have a heart attack. He's like, that was awesome. It's his thing. It's awesome to watch.
It is the entire experience, and I call it, because I've killed a bunch of bears, but the deal about it is I call myself a bear watcher now. I like going and watching, okay? And a lot of times people think hunters are killers. Hunters are hunters, okay? The animals that we kill, and we do kill them, okay, are the right animals. And we want to explain to people, you talked about having an encounter with a Jake. Jake was loving on the decoy.
Yeah.
Okay, you could have shot the Jake. Okay, but so tell them why you didn't shoot the Jake. Because there's a reason.
I'll let you explain it, because you put it to me profoundly, if you remember.
I think what I would have said is, there's a principle that we live by in hunting, and there's a lifespan of an animal. That animal has not had its chance to breed and do what that animal was maybe God-given to do. And so we don't take those young animals. And it's not a matter of survival for me. It's a principle of conservation and the experience of hunting that old, majestic, mature animal.
Yeah.
That's why there's record books, and that's why there's people that take photos of big antlered animals and beyond.
And the other day, speaking of this topic, I didn't even talk to you about this. Keith and I were axis hunting the other day, and I was filming them, and it was the last morning, literally last opportunity, and we had a young axis walk out. And I was like, Keith, because I was the one talking with the ranch manager. I was like, Keith, he's on the menu if you want to shoot him. And he's like, no, I'm not going to shoot him. I'm looking for the right animal. And he turned to the camera and he said, now, if I was hungry as heck and we needed the meat and I had a low freezer, that would be the right animal. But the fact of the matter is I'm not hurting for meat. I'm out here to shoot a mature buck and manage the herd. And that's what he stuck to. And we went home empty-handed.
That's the way it goes. That's hunting. And I know... it sounds such a cliche. It doesn't matter if I get one or not. I just want to go. We all want to get one. Okay, we all want to get one. That's the goal. Okay, but when we go, it's joy that the hunt brings us. It's the sunset, the sunrise, the coffee in the morning, the walking through the woods, the listen to the turkeys gobble, it's watching the bear come in. It's hearing the elk bugle. It's all those things that we live for, and I'm thinking that as a hunter, I mean, and if somebody's watching this and says, I wish I could hunt, I mean, I don't know how to tell somebody how they learn to hunt, except YouTube has got a jillion videos. We've got like 1,600 or so videos on our channel. You watch it, but you can watch all this stuff on hunts. Okay, but I think if you want to learn how to hunt, you need to find a hunter to teach you how to hunt. You need a mentor. Whether your mentor for turkey hunting is much younger than you,
right,
or somebody like Mike. Did you learn from your dad or your granddad? Okay,
absolutely.
Same here.
Yeah,
and Johnny learned from his dad. Okay, and so most of us learn from a dad or granddad or a father figure. I'll put it that way. It could be a neighbor, but if you want to hunt and you don't have somebody to take you, I encourage you to find somebody, find a hunter, because if you find somebody. Yeah, I think that especially SCI is full of so many wonderful people. I mean, a lot of people in SCI are newcomers. We've got a lot of newcomers coming into SCI.
Oh, yeah.
But there's a lot of old timers, too, that have been around for a long, long time. But I think if you came to a convention, come to Nashville. Okay, every year we have a convention. Come to Nashville, and you will be blown away. I mean, and there will be so many people that will help you, and you'll be welcomed with open arms, and it'll be like, you're going to be overwhelmed.
I'm really glad you say that, because there's a theory that, hey, if I'm going to be at SCI with all these experienced hunters in Nashville, these people aren't going to have time for little old me. That is exactly opposite of what it is. There is camaraderie and fellowship and a thorough engagement of people saying, let me steer you in the right direction. Let me introduce you to a good friend. You're looking for a moose hunt. You want to go on an elk hunt. I got the guy for you. Talk to him. And they let you talk to the right guy face to face. And the next thing you know, you're going on the hunt of your lifetime. Yeah. And you will never regret a hunt that you got at SCI.
Oh no, because you're talking to the guy. I mean, you're not online trying to communicate with somebody, or you're not talking to an agent. You're talking to the guy. I mean, you're talking to the guy. In the eye. You're going to be sitting on the mountain with him for the next 10 days or whatever. And so you're going to be able to feel the chemistry. Do you have it or don't you? I mean, you think, do you like the guy? I mean, can you understand the guy? Because many times we're going to foreign countries and it is hard to understand some of these people. Do you have an interpreter for us? I mean, you're able to make a great deal, and you're able to make great friends.
Yeah. So and it's not like you're letting good outfitters in to be at SCI that can be
trusted. The best.
They're the best.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We vet everybody.
Exactly.
And we have a long waiting list of people that would like to get in. I wish we had more space. I predict that convention will grow up and get taller, and there'll be more people as time goes on, because everybody's been going to the Nashville convention. From the exhibitor side is telling us we have never seen business like this, where we're seeing people come and they've already came with a decision to go hunting, and then they meet us and they're booking the hunt, they're paying the check, they're ready to go. And it's happening more so in Nashville, I think, because there are people that just wouldn't take the time to go to Nevada, but also because there are younger people, women included, that are saying, I want to go with my husband. I'm not staying home taking care of the kids. We'll get somebody to take care of the kids. Grandma's taking care of the kids. I'm going with you, honey. We're going hunting.
Yep.
And the women are having a ball, and they are celebrating their hunt.
If you take a look at the number of women that are at the convention in Nashville, it'll blow your mind.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's just like there's women. Most guys, if they have a woman in their life, she wants to go to the convention, because there's plenty of stuff for a woman to do. I mean, even if she doesn't hunt, there's plenty of stuff.
Oh, she'll be shopping.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we're putting a lot of exhibitors out there, and it's not just furriers and jewelers. It's also artisans and people that are doing great home furnishings, all kinds of stuff that do interest families. And it's not for the women, it's for the family, but the woman likes to pick out some of these things. And we're getting some interesting artists coming from Africa where you can't find what they make anywhere in America. That's why you got to be there. You got to go to the Nashville show.
And the kids.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
good young
kids.
crowd.
Yeah.
A lot of
real young kids.
Yeah.
And that's nice to see, because that's the future of hunting right there.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the whole deal with what we're trying to do, we want to introduce more people to hunting. I don't care what they hunt. I don't care. As long as they do it legal, I'm good with it, okay? We want more people to go hunting.
Right. No matter what you hunt, no matter where you hunt, SCI is there for you.
And I mean, globally. And that's what SCI is all about. Now, talk about SCI, and as far as what SCI does, I tell them, SCI, they're warriors for wildlife. They're warriors for conservation. Tell everybody about, if they don't know what SCI does, and many people don't. Probably more people don't know what SCI does compared to know what SCI does. So tell people why does SCI exist?
SCI exists as a nonprofit organization to protect the freedom to hunt and to promote wildlife conservation. These are two separate goals, but the primary mission of the SCI side is to protect the freedom to hunt. What does that mean? That sounds good, but exactly how? We have a team of lobbyists, of attorneys, of international government and non-government agency people that are all interconnected to make sure that not only can you hunt in South Africa or in New Zealand or anywhere in the world, but that you can travel there safely, that you can bring your firearm, that you can import the species that you take, so that you can have an ultimate, full, all-encompassing hunting experience. So that requires us to protect legislation from those that would choose, if they had it their way, for us not to do that. Now, these aren't people that do it. These are people that don't want you to do it.
Right.
And so we take action. Now, we have learned over 53 years now how to do it effectively. And under the guidance of Ben Cassidy and Laird Hamberlin and the people that are working diligently on that project and on all those concepts, we're making inroads with legislators just recently. Even Donald Trump showed up at the office the other day for half an hour. We have legislators and senators and congressmen that come to our office on an almost regular basis to kind of check in, see what's going on, see how they can help us. Our members, I've been told by other very reputable associations that they love to have our members. In fact, they trade theirs for ours because our members are not just affluent. There's a lot of affluence, but there's influence. They can get into the senator's office. They can make him understand the issue at hand, the legislation that's proposed, and what impact that's going to have on our industry. So we protect the freedom to hunt, but it goes beyond that. It goes into what you were talking about, the fellowship, the camaraderie, the membership. When members get together, they share ideas, stories. That's how the whole thing started. A guy named C.J. McElroy said, hey, let's get together and let's talk about it. I interviewed him once on camera, and he said, I had no idea. I had no idea it was going to turn into this. He's no longer with us, but that man had a vision. And what it was about bringing people together. And I think it's interesting that all these roads came from SCI. Even, some of the other organizations, Dallas, Houston, they all were chapters of SCI early on. And what happened in those early days, that finally CJ, the founder, said, I'm going to give everybody a board seat. You're all going to be on the board of directors. And there were about 7 or 8 chapters at that time. Well, it blossomed into 150 chapters. So yeah, we do have a big board, but they only meet a couple times a year. We got an executive committee that runs this SCI. At the same time, we have a foundation. Now, the SCI Foundation, the kind of sister company, has been just exploding lately because people understand the principle of conservation requires funding. And so we've got a lot of donors that are saying, I can do something. And some of them are $10 a month donors, and some of them are $1 million, every other year or so. But after a while, you end up with enough affluence there, enough dollars to make a difference. And so if the elephants need a watering hole, or the deer need to be thinned out in a certain area, or the sheep need to be transplanted, we're doing it. So we've got conservation programs going on. But I think the biggest news with SCI is that it's no longer just SCI. It's TTHA. It's Synergetica. It's other associations and organizations. FASA, Weatherby just moved to our Nashville convention. We've got all kinds of stuff going on in Nashville, and I just heard from a major entertainer that's going to be entertaining on Saturday night. The contract's not signed, so I can't tell you who it is. But if that's not a tease, I don't know what is. You got to be there Saturday night. It's going to be fun.
Okay, so tell everybody when the convention is.
Convention is January 22nd through the 25th. That's a Wednesday through a Saturday. A lot of people will go a day early and join the Foundation's Beretta Conservation Gala on Tuesday. That's the 21st. And some will stay for the GSCO convention and or their events on Sunday, the 26th. So it's a week in Nashville. That week from the 22nd through the 25th is the time you want to be there. And hotels are selling fast.
Folks, I want to tell you, I wound up we were at the convention. I guess it was 2 years ago, and this is all without people that contribute and donate. SCI wouldn't exist. Okay, we have to have membership. We have to have sponsors and people to donate. But the members open up their wallets like you can't even imagine. If you can give $10, $10 is good. But we were sitting at a table, and there was a couple across from us. And all of a sudden, I guess Laird was up at the microphone announcing, and they said, we want to recognize somebody for making $1 million contribution. And I'm looking around the room like, who in the world made $1 million contribution? And they were sitting at the table with us. It's like, are you kidding me? It's like,
At your table.
Whoa. You know, I mean, you remember that?
Yeah, I do. I remember the guy's face. I know exactly what you're talking about.
You should have seen my face. I was like, whoa. I mean, that was awesome. But, you know, SCI is made up of people from all walks of life. I mean, you may have like Richard Childress. Okay, Richard Childress, he's a big SCI member, all the way down to me, to Johnny, I mean, to us, you know, just Bubba. But the deal about it is if you love hunting, if you love conservation, you love animals, SCI is something that you really ought to check out. I mean, there's a lot of organizations out there. They're good. Okay, they're good. But there's only one organization that, to me, as an umbrella, does it all. And I mean, SCI, they cover it all. If you hunt for everything from bucks to ducks, it doesn't matter. I mean, SCI is there for you. So if somebody wants more information about SCI, what is the website? Tell them where they can go to where they can check it out.
SafariClub.org. If you Google Safari Club International or SCI First for Hunters, you'll get there. But SafariClub.org is the website, and from there, you can navigate through everything we're doing in legislation, record book membership, and convention. That's the way, that's the portal to Nashville. Now, we're going to open up our registration in a couple of weeks from now. So mid-July of this year, 24. Registration opens. That's when you can buy your dinner tickets, your registrations, just about anything you're going to need for January. The thing that you might want to do now is look at what hotel you want to be at. We've got all kinds of hotels surrounding that Music City Center. It's right in the heart of downtown. We've got stuff going on Broadway, but you can stay at the JW Marriott. I think there might be a few Omni hotel rooms left, but there's a whole bunch of other hotels.
We got to get
right
our
around.
hotels.
Yeah, we got to get it.
Yeah, you do.
It is amazing how many people come. You know, I when it was in Nevada, when SCI had the conventions over there, I went, and I'm not a guy. I don't gamble. I don't go to the casino and stuff. And a lot of people enjoy that, but that's not for me. I'm there because of the people that love hunting and conservation. That's the reason why I go. And so when y'all moved to Nashville, it was like, I wonder how it's going to go. I wonder compared to, because you've been in Nevada for so long. That first year, I remember we were there when we did the ribbon cutting ceremony,
Right.
And the governor got up there and talked, and it was like, we got to do this again, and we got to do this again and again. And now SCI is going to be in Nashville for how many years?
Through 33.
A long time.
Another 9 years.
And there's a reason why. It's because the hunters love coming there. I mean, all over. And the east and the southeast and the northeast, hunters are flocking to Nashville like crazy. And Nashville's such a wonderful city.
Oh, and the people welcome us. The people of Nashville have said we've never had a convention anywhere in our history where we've had so many enjoyable people, friendly people that came and supported our business, our city, our hotels, our restaurants, our Uber drivers, and beyond. They said everybody called the Convention and Visitor Corporation and said, whoever those guys are, get them back. They were great.
You know. I'll tell you. There's something about hunters. There's something about if you're a hunter, you got to realize that. I mean, hunters are out there. It's like we have this common thread. I think it's decency. It's respect.
Yes.
Okay. And so what happens is whether you're getting an Uber, whether you're at a restaurant, whether you're walking down, you open the door for somebody, it's decency. Okay. And it's a group of decent people. And when you're there, you think, man, everybody in the world's a hunter. Not really, but the people in that room are passionate about it. And what we want to do is we want to spread that passion to other people to join us and share that passion that you've got for the outdoors. You know, but I think decency is probably a pretty good word to describe them.
It's decency, and it's a whole lot of fun. Hunting is so much fun. That convention's fun. When you walk around that show floor, you will see some senators, and you'll see some congressmen, you'll see some actors. And I mean,
some musicians, some big time musicians.
You might run into Luke Bryan. You might run into Jason Aldean. I know you're going to run into a whole bunch of people this year and every year because they are finding that convention just as much as the rest of the world is finding that convention. And they're going, hey, wait a minute. We had one singer-songwriter show up with his wife and his young kid. And he said, honey, give me the credit card, take the kid.
Yeah, I mean, it's the place to be. If you haven't been, you need to go. And if you've been, I know you're going to go again.
Yes. You definitely should give it a shot. Now, Mike, you're doing all that for SCI now, but I think at heart, truly, you're a producer just like us.
Who, me?
Yes. Yes, he is. I guarantee you. He did Expedition Safaris, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
For how many years?
12 years.
This is a TV show. That was in association with SCI.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's SCI's first and only TV show they've ever done.
You produced it and hosted it.
That's
correct. At least for a little bit of mixture, like you started out producing and then ended up hosting it, right?
Yeah. I produced it the whole time, but we had for the first year an outside company that kind of came in and produced it because it started off on the Outdoor Life Network, which turned into Versus. In the last 9 years, Outdoor Channel. So...
Isn't it amazing? I look back at it. I think all these networks are gone, but they morphed into it back. Remember, like Nashville Network back years ago. It was Nashville Network. Okay, and like you said, OLN. Okay, it was Outdoor Life Network, but it was OLN.
Right.
Okay?
OLN.
And it was just all these different networks versus and it's just amazing how the business has changed. It used to be that there were not many channels to get outdoor programming on. Think about that. Okay, I remember when we were on broadcast TV. Mm-hmm. That's what we were on. Okay, and then when we went to cable, there were 36 opportunities on cable TV. Now I know it sounds like I'm talking about back in the 1800s, but it wasn't really that long ago.
No, it wasn't.
There were 36 channels on cable TV. Okay, but now there's thousands of different channels and platforms, and so it's for that reason I think in YouTube you got YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and you still got linear television, but there's all these different platforms, and so hunters can get their fix everywhere now. Mm-hmm. If you want to get your fix on the outdoors, all you got to do is whatever favorite platform you got, find it.
Right,
it's there.
I remember those early days we were averaging almost 700,000 viewers per episode
because it was the only place they could watch.
Right. Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing because I go with guys that I still go with guys that I did 30 years ago, 35 years ago, and they say back in the day when you run a show, it would kill them. I mean, they couldn't answer the phone. It was just ding, 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 because it was the only place to watch.
Right.
And Johnny and I have talked about this a lot. There's no way you can do that anymore. It's impossible because it's so fragmented. There's so many different platforms out there, and the viewers on the different platforms are different. The viewer that's watching linear television is a different viewer than is watching YouTube. It's a different viewer than is watching on Facebook, a different viewer that is watching on Instagram. Every one of these platforms is different. Okay, I look at TV and I think, okay, smart TV. Years ago, I got the smart TV, okay? And the smart TV, I thought, my God, how can I buy a TV that has this beautiful image, HD? I mean, keep in mind, the Betacam was $40,000, okay? This beautiful image TV, big one, for $400. Okay, how can they do that? The way they're doing that is through all those little apps, all those little Hulu and Netflix and all those. That's where they're making all their money. Mm-hmm. And so there's all these different channels that we can be on. And so that's the reason why what we're trying to do is we want to be on all of them. Okay, we're trying to shoot with a shotgun because there's no one. There's no more OLN.
Right.
It just doesn't exist. And I don't think it'll ever come back to that.
No, but I do think there's always going to be a place, whether it's on a streaming service or a television channel, for good wildlife, good hunting action where I can see the animals and I can see places that I might want to go someday. As long as it's not too much about look at me and look at what I got.
Right. But I think that a lot of stuff in the outdoor video world has lost storytelling.
Right.
Okay. There's a story to be told.
Yeah.
I mean, who, what, when, where, how, and why. Okay. Why are we here? How do we get here? Who are we with? Why is it important? I mean, what are we hunting? Where did it come from? I mean, all these things. And so the consumer, or the viewer, especially on some of these platforms, they want it right now. We're in a microwave world.
Right.
They want it right now. Okay.
And produced well.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it's like, wait a minute. It took me 8 days to get close enough to that elk to take a shot. Y'all hunted turkeys for 3-4 days. Okay. And didn't get one. Okay. There's a story there. There's a story there. And to cheat the viewer, to give the viewer everything, I mean, like in a 10-day hunt, we make a television show on it. I think we can't cram the story into that. We lose so much of the campfire, so much of the weather, so much of the burning muscles, all the things. And that's what I think a lot of people are missing in hunting nowadays. I mean, it would be when they're exposed, it's like, it's not just bam, it's over with. It's a process.
Right.
It's a long process. It's a romance. I mean, that we have with the outdoors.
You shot it in 30 minutes on TV. Shouldn't I be able to?
Right.
No, it's going to take 10 days.
And what's sad is, I mean, you know, I got a ranch out east of town, and hunters come out there and hunt. And it's like I tell them, look, there's not 150-inch deer under every tree. They want that, but I think, no, you don't. No, you don't. You want to hunt. You want to watch that squirrel out. You come out. You want to watch that armadillo go across that field. You want to. I mean, you want to experience it.
Right.
You know, you just don't want to go out and smoke one and be done with it.
Right.
And because that's not what hunting is about. It's about enriching your life through the experience of being outdoors.
Mm-hmm.
And as a producer, I think a lot of that passion, I could tell, I could hear it in your voice. That's why I loved listening to the stories. Was that you had a lot of passion for that. Like you were telling me about the elephant shot that you got just right, perfect with Jeff.
Yeah.
And he starts describing this shot. He's like, "Yeah, it was one of my favorite shots I've ever got." And I've seen that shot a million times and didn't even know that he got it. We're sitting in the truck together. The elephant looks as big as a house. But tell everybody real quick. I mean, we talked about several cool stories. Like out in your adventures, you've been all over the world: New Zealand, Africa. What, like you're oh yeah, my 28th time to Africa. I was like, holy crap. So any stories you got for anybody?
They're like a trophy on the wall or a picture in your photo album. I mean, each one is an experience.
Absolutely.
And each one has more stories than we have time for today.
Mm-hmm.
So I pick out and cherry pick some of them. And it's not necessarily meant to be my experience in all of Africa, but there are moments in time, and I was telling you about some of them. The elephant one, I've had several with lions. I don't know about you, but every once in a while you get that one animal that it seems like that one and you are always going to tangle, or you can't ever find him, or whatever the case may be. For me, the lion has been that animal for me in Africa. And I've had some experiences. I was telling you, I went with a guy to Tanzania. We were in the middle of the West. And we were hunting Sitatunga out in the swamp. And long story short, we walked out, and he shot this Sitatunga. It was getting late in the day, and he wounded. He had to go get it, which he did. But he said, why don't you go back and keep my girlfriend or wife company? She's in the car all by herself waiting for us to come out of the swamp. So I said, all right, I'll do that. I end up coming out of the swamp, and I see her kind of panicking about 100 yards away. She's flashing the lights on, and I'm not sure why. And I look over, and I see this lioness. Well, this lioness is sitting by the edge of the swamp waiting for something to eat. And then it looks at me and says, I'll bet I can catch that. And I'm thinking, this isn't good, because I could see her ribs. I could see she was hungry. And I thought, okay, just don't run. I know better. So I'm going to circle around and give this lion a little space and see if I can't get to that car. I got 20 yards, maybe. And that lion popped up 5 yards away from me and just dropped to its belly in a crawl position. The tail starts swishing back and forth.
Yeah.
And she starts, her lips curl back so I can see her teeth now. I don't know why that's important, other than to scare the heck out of me. Ears pinned back, and I immediately said, start the car, drive it to me. It's a right-hand side manual transmission car that she can't drive. It even has the emergency brake on. Don't ask me why. She's going a foot installing. So this cat's getting close. Long story short, I take my lighter out of my pocket and light the grass on fire. Now I'm trying to keep from getting barbecued because this cat is coming. There's no question in my mind. But I got to keep her back, and the fire does the trick. But she's now circling around this fire and really agitated that she can't get me. And I'm screaming at the woman. I was like, get the car in gear. Drive it to me now. And she's not doing it. So, okay, I gotta go a different direction. So I'm thinking, what do I have to keep this lion from biting me? Which is a long shot, we know. and it was built by Sony. I figure I'm going to hit her with this camera as hard as I possibly can. There's no other way. And the fire dies, and the sun is now set, and there's enough glow that I can see her clearly. And she is now close enough to me that I can smell her breath. I can hear her, and she's leaning in, and she's just about ready to jump. And I'm winding up with this camera. I'm going to hit her as hard as I can on the nose. Meantime, this woman got out of the car and got into the back and grabbed a gun. She never fired a rifle or any firearm before. Opens it up, no bullets. Back in the car, gets bullets. Back in the back, finds out and remembers that it has to be the right bullet. She was trying to put a .338 in a .416. Well, yeah, that doesn't work. So she got the .416 bullets. She got back. She loaded a bullet, and she fired it. And that cat, 4 feet away from me, jumped straight up about 5 feet in the air and landed on her feet and looked at me like, how'd you do that? And all I could say was, shoot again. And she shot again, and the cat ran off about 25 yards and looked at me like, damn, I was going to eat that. And I just said, shoot one more time. And she did, and the cat started to walk away, looking over her shoulder, and I thought, now's my chance. I'm going to that car, and I'm going to walk. I'm not going to run. It's pitch dark now, and I can see the light on in the cabin. I just walk into that car going, don't jump on my back. And I got in the car, and she was dripping sweat. She saved my life, no doubt about it. She's since painted a rock with a lion on it. Eventually, the guys came out of the swamp and said, who's shooting? After a long conversation, they said, yeah, she did save your life.
So you didn't have a gun with you when you?
No. I was just operating a camera back in these days. I wasn't
Oh, my
actually,
God.
Yeah.
I hate to tell you this, but hitting the camera, the line on the nose of the camera would have just done
It was
it off.
nothing. It was
mean,
the
like-
best I could come up with at the
Right.
time, and I knew that this is going to hurt.
like shoving its mouth so it can't bite you.
I love that story. Genuine survival, and the fact that she saved your life and barely knew what she was doing.
Right,
Super
exactly.
cool. Well, good. Well, we have got to get you back to the party.
Yes, I do need to get back.
Yes. So, what do you think, Keith? You're going to
Yeah.
wrap this up?
We good?
Yeah.
We're good. We could sit here and talk all
I'm
day.
telling
I
you,
know.
if we could have some time to talk about analog videotape production and some of our production stories, we have so many that we need to catch up on, Keith. So
We're going to do this again.
I hope so.
Okay. Well, thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
coming.
My pleasure.
Johnny, thank you for lining up. And thank you all
Yes.
for watching. And tell everybody where they can watch other podcasts.
Yeah, so folks, if you're watching this as a video, you can go towards the end of this video. It'll be in the credits. You'll be able to see all the platforms that we air on where you can tune in, just, depending on where you listen to podcasts on typically, but Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, all those. And if you're listening on, something that's only audio, just make sure to check in the description because we'll have everywhere else we air on there as well.
And if you want more information about SCI, please check them out. Please check them out. It's something that if you're a hunter, we need you. We really do. We would really appreciate you checking us out. If you check us out, you'll join us. And appreciate y'all watching, and we'll catch you next time. Adios. Mike,
you.
thank you.
Later.
People Who Hunt can be watched on Facebook and YouTube and listened to on all major platforms.